So I've got right at the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Tonya, and welcome. It's great to have you all here today. This is an all levels comeback yoga class. Comeback Yoga is a nonprofit organization based out of Denver, Colorado, and we serve veterans, active duty military, and support. Really, anyone can join, but our primary the primary people we serve are the veterans, active duty, and their support teams. So I'm Tonya, and this all levels class will be starting on the floor, doing some floor work, a little bit of standing work, and then back down onto the floor. Um, if you experience any pain or discomfort at any time, know that you can just stop and pick it up later. You can also know that this class is recorded and will be uploaded to the YouTube channel later. So always do what you can and take care of yourself. And the benefit of practicing this from home is that you can stop at any time, especially if you have critters calling you that might need attention. Um, and you can always come back to the practice. So if you have any requests today, if you want to type them in the chat, if you have that chat function, love to hear from you. Otherwise, we'll just get started. It's about a 45 to 50-minute class, and we'll be starting on the floor. So you don't need any props today unless you like to have props for your own practice. So we'll be coming onto our back. And sometimes I like to have a little pillow or towel under my head. So I'm going to start with that today. So getting comfortable, what we call constructive rest, where just maybe allowing the knees to come together and the feet are separated. And just taking a moment to just feel your breath, feel how it comes in and how it leaves. And where does it flow naturally? Where do you feel it the most? So our lungs are more or less shaped like three-dimensional triangles, I guess more like a cone in some ways. So narrower at the top and wider at the base. So when we think about our breath as it's coming in, oftentimes we only feel it in the upper portion of our lungs. So this practice, we can begin to maybe sense it as it goes wider, as it goes deeper. And it may be more difficult to actually experience that. So just notice it and just feel it, accept it. We won't try to change anything about it now, but as we move through our practice, we might tend to notice that it does shift, especially as we come back to our final relaxation and meditation portion of class. There may be a natural shifting in the body. That's one of the many benefits of this practice. So just take a couple more breaths. You can have your hands resting on your body as you feel your breath move against your hands. Maybe again in the upper, middle, or the lower rib cage. And we'll just take 2 or 3 more breaths here. See if there's any part of you that maybe can arrive a little bit more to this present moment. And now we'll go ahead and stretch our arms out to the sides and keeping the knees bent. Start to move the knees to one side and turn your head to look in the other direction. Come back through the center with the head and the knees, and then look in the other direction. And coming back, moving side to side, going at your own pace. My pace might be too slow or too fast. And just move and notice your breath as you're moving side to side. And if there's a limited range of motion or if there's a sense of freedom in one direction or the other, where is there resistance and where is there a sense of ease and freedom? And then coming back through the center, let those knees come together again. I'll bring the arms up overhead and crisscross at the elbows, grabbing opposite shoulders. Inhale, opening the arms, and exhaling, crisscrossing the other direction, grabbing the shoulders. We'll do this a couple more times. If you'd like to add the breath and link it with the movement, we can inhale as we open the arms as an expansion and exhale as we close. And we'll do this a couple more times. And last one. And then take both arms up overhead and circle your wrists. Circle the other way. And then grab one knee or back of the leg and bring it into or towards your chest. And straighten that same leg up towards the ceiling. Circle your your ankle, and circle the other way. And then bend your knee to your chest and straighten your leg. And we'll do this 2 more times. Just kind of working through the joint before we come to standing. And lower your foot down and switch sides. And straightening your leg and rotating the ankle, noticing again kind of the range of motion without judgment. We're just noticing, and be curious. My ankle doesn't want to move as well this side. All right, bring the knee to chest. And I laugh only at myself because I've had some injury on that side and I have to, sometimes approach it with a sense of humor. So bending the knee and straightening the leg into the chest and straightening. All right, and then lower down. Stretch your arms next to your ears and stretch your legs. And then reach in opposite direction. You can point and flex the feet here. Just kind of noticing some movement side to side through the hips and through the arms. Maybe through the head and shoulders. And then bring your arms back down to your sides. We'll bring our knees now right over the hips with the shins parallel to the floor. You can hold on to the tops of the knees or the backs of the knees. And really get yourself stable here, or you start to feel a little bit of warmth in your abdominals. Send one leg, kind of slide it straight out or up, and send the opposite arm alongside the ear. Exhale and bring your hands and knees back together. Switching sides. So again, either the leg can go straight up or it can go to a diagonal. And then bring it in. Switching, alternating, and coming back in. Continue moving, going slow, linking with the breath, or if you feel like you need to move more like a bicycle, you can do so. And just stay present with your body and with your breath, noticing any warmth, noticing the low back. And can we stay engaged in the front of the body without overarching in the back? So that might mean, again, that our leg doesn't go out as far. We might even tap our foot down to the floor, like so. We'll do this a couple more times on each side, maybe even exploring a couple different options. And we'll do one more each side. Good. And hug your knees into your chest. And taking a couple of breaths here. And roll to one side. And I'll press up to tabletop. And if you like to place some padding under your knees, you can do so. So the hands coming under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. Take an inhale to lengthen and maybe let the belly drop softly towards the floor. On your exhale, kind of lift the belly up towards the ceiling. Inhale, letting the spine lengthen on the front, and exhaling to round. A couple more times in each direction, going at your own pace. If you like to add a little bit of movement in the head, you can do so. And last one. Come to a neutral position and bring those knees maybe just slightly behind the hips now, or a variation of a plank pose. So in this variation, we can start to already feel the core engage. If you'd like to, you could also lift the knees and come into a full plank. So you decide what you'd like to do or what you'd like to start with today. We'll take one or two more breaths in this position. And then with your next exhale, we're going to bend the elbows and come down about halfway. And press back up, pushing down into those fingers. And exhale, coming down about halfway. Couple more times, pushing and exhaling to come down. Resist the floor. Come back up and come back down. Last one. Press up and press down. Come all the way down to your stomach. And bringing the hands now just behind the shoulders. Your legs are long. Tucking the chin, lift the head and shoulders now, the little length in the front and the back of the body. Exhale and lower down. Push into those fingers just a tiny bit as you lift and lengthen. Exhale, come down and release. One more time. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, softening down. Tuck your toes under, and we'll press back up to that tabletop or that variation of a plank, or you can come into the full plank. And let's take one more breath in here. And then on your exhale, bring your knees down and take them wide and bring the hips back towards the heels into the pose of a child. You can send the arms straight. You can rest your head on the back of your hands. You could also, if this bothers the back of the knees, if you had something you would like to place behind the knees, that can be really nice too. So just take a couple more breaths there in your child's. The wider the knees, that will allow for more of the soft tissue on the front of the body to settle into. So just giving your body some space. And take about 3 more breaths here. All right. And come to stand up on your knees now. Again, if you want some padding under the knees, go ahead and grab it. Taking your arms up overhead on an inhale. And as you exhale, bring the arms behind you, and the forehead's going to come down towards the floor or to the floor. 2 more times. Inhale, will rise up, bring the arms up overhead. You might look up at the hands or the ceiling. Exhale and bring the hips back and the forehead down. 1 more time. Inhaling, reaching the arms up, and exhaling, bringing the forehead down. And then inhale, coming all the way back up. And exhale, bring your arms down to your sides. We're going to take one leg out to the side. So I'm going to show this from the front this way for now. So the leg comes out to the side and coming into Gait Pose. Inhale, the arms reach out, and exhale, reach one arm towards the straight leg and bring it down onto the leg. Take your opposite arm and come into a side bend, reaching over that ear towards the toes, towards the foot. And inhale, coming up, and exhaling, releasing the arm down. Bringing your knees back under the hips and taking your other leg out to the side. Turning the toes in any direction that's comfortable on your ankle. Inhaling, bringing the arms out, and exhaling, reaching and taking the top arm next to the ear. Side bend here as we reach. Notice the fingers. Inhaling, coming up, and exhaling, lowering down. And bringing the knees back under the hips. Inhale, bring your arms up, and exhale, come down into that child's pose. The arms resting to your sides, and your forehead can come to the ground. And coming back up to tabletop position, hands under shoulders and knees under hips. I'm having a hell of a time today with my mic, but as long as you can hear me, it's all good. All right, so bring one hand behind your head and press your head and hand together. So you feel a little bit of resistance there. Take that elbow and cross it towards the opposite elbow, maybe even more towards the armpit. I'll show from the front. Inhale, the arm and head and elbow lift. Maybe even look under. Exhaling and tucking it under to the opposite side. We'll do 3 more times. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling and bringing it under. 2 more. Inhale. This is an important part of breath awareness, body awareness. So noticing your range of motion, creating that contact. And then on the next one, we're going to thread the needle, meaning we release the arm and bring it across to the opposite side.
Your forehead might come down to the floor. It may not.
You can adjust your hips forward or back to adjust the pressure or to adjust the sensation, to adjust the stretch. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And coming back up to tabletop. And switching sides now. So the other hand comes onto the back, or the head, I mean. And inhale, push your head and hand together. Push down into your bottom hand. Exhaling and taking your elbow across. Inhaling and exhaling. So keeping a little bit of pressure, head and hand. 2 more. And we'll thread that arm under for thread the needle on the next one. And coming back up to your tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up for downward facing dog. Fingers not nice and wide, hips towards the ceiling. And let's come back down to our knees. And come to stand on the knees and turn to face now the long edge of your mat. And take the one leg out to the side again for the gait pose again, bringing the arms out nice and wide and exhaling, reaching to the side, left arm next to the ear. And coming back up, going to take the same arm, that outside arm, and bring it around. So you're going to reach around towards the foot, maybe the ankle. And on your next inhale, open it back up. And on your exhale, bring it back around. One more time, inhaling and exhaling. And inhale, open, and release the arms down. And bring that knee in. Take your leg out to the other side, other leg out to the side. All right. Inhaling, open the arms, gait pose, reaching, side bend. And inhale, come up, exhale, reach across towards the foot or ankle. Inhale, open up. And it helps to keep your hand on your leg. That'll help support you in the movement. Bringing the arm forward. And one more time. Inhaling, opening, and exhaling, bringing it across. Excellent. And then come back up. All right, release the arms down. So walk your straight leg in, and we're going to turn now, coming into a lunge. So you can lift the back knee and come down into the lunge here. Tuck your toes under to lift the knee, finding a lunge position towards that leg. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. Get a nice big stretch. Notice any sensations across the front of the leg. maybe the outer hip. All right. And then walk your hands around, turn your feet parallel, and we're going to walk into our lunge on the other side. So bending that knee and releasing. If you would prefer, your knee can come down or you can keep it lifted. We'll take 2 more breaths here in this nice long stretch. All right, and then coming back around, parallel the feet and come into a fold here with the legs wide. And if you need something under the hands, you could also just bring your hands onto your legs here. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And with your next inhale, bend your knees and bring yourself up to stand. All right. Turn your right toes out to the short edge of your mat. I'm going to take off. It's starting to get warm. All right. Open your arms nice and wide so they come parallel to the floor. Exhale and bend your right knee. Inhale, straighten your leg. And then exhale, we're coming into triangle. So reach the right arm towards the toes and bring your hand to your shin. Left arm comes up next to the ear. You're going to reach up towards the ceiling and choose a head position. You can look down towards the floor. You can look forward, or for a balance challenge, you can look up to the hand. See how that feels. All right, a little bend in the knee, we'll come back, and then big bend in the knee, back into warrior 2. Straighten the legs, release the arms. Turn your other foot out. Big inhale, like wings, opening those arms. And exhaling, bending the knee for warrior 2. Straighten on an inhale. And then reach. Keep reaching till you just can't reach anymore. And then just let your arm float down. You can land on your knee, on your shin, on the floor, on the ankle. Depends on how long you are. A lot of yoga is about proportions, and it's also about being present with our own body. You don't have to look anything, your posture doesn't have to look anything like mine, really. All right, and bend the knees, coming into that warrior 2 again. Release the hands and straighten. And then it's not, again, how we look in these postures, it's how the posture feels from the inside. That's just a reminder. All right, hands to the hips, shoulders back, and fold forward, really reaching long with your chest as you come down. Hands can come to the floor or the ankles. All right, bending those knees again, come up to stand. We have one more standing sequence here. So turning the toes towards the long edge of your mat, opening up those arms, and exhale, bend into warrior 2. Inhale to straighten, and then exhale, finding triangle, reaching, and the hand can come down, top arm up. And you might even just float the hand down this time, or maybe it actually lands, but you don't want to put all of your weight on the leg. You want to be able to feel the warmth building inside. Coming into extended side angle now. So your left arm comes next to your ear. You're going to bend that knee. So very similar feeling as we were in our gait pose, right? So reaching long through that top side, reaching through the bottom foot. Good. Now we're going to reach the arm back up into our warrior 2. Excellent. And stay one more breath here. And then straighten and release. Second side, final side. Inhaling, turning toes out, exhaling, and bending. Inhale for triangle, straightening, reach, hand comes down. See if you can feel the strength of the legs, and then how does that affect the torso and the core strength? Bending your knee, forearm to the inside or the top of the knee, and the other arm comes alongside the ear. So reaching long through the arm, feeling the strength. Good. And we'll come back up through, transition through to warrior two. And straighten. All right, here's our fold, parallel the feet. Hands come to the lap, back side, front side, and fold forward. As you reach long, coming down, down, down. Just noticing the surface beneath you and how your feet come in contact with the surface. Noticing how the legs are in relationship to the feet. And then we'll lunge to the right side of the mat, bending that knee. Lower your back knee down to the ground now, if that's okay. Point the foot coming into crescent lunge, low crescent lunge. Your left arm reaches up. You can bring a little more extension. And feeling that wobbling, I sure am, and touch down. Back toes tuck, knee lifts. Walk to the other side of your mat. And lowering that knee down, maybe pointing the foot and reach up. And come down. And press back up. And walk around back into that wide fold. So from the wide fold, we'll bring our knees down to the ground, taking them out wide. So it's probably kind of hard to see me, I think. So the knees come out wide, and then we're going to turn our toes out. So kind of walking the knees out. This is where maybe folding up the short edge of your mat, long edge, to pad those knees. This is a variation of frog. So the toes turn out. And you can stay tall on the hands or drop the forearms down. If this is too intense on the knees, you can bring the toes more together into more of a wide child's pose as you bring the hips back towards or to the heels. We'll just take a couple more breaths here. And then if you would like to try that wide child's pose where the toes come together and the knees are wide, we'll just take a couple more breaths here. And then pressing up. This is always a more challenging part. So push down into your hands, lift your knees, and bring them together. Tuck your toes under. I'll show from the side. So your heels will be lifted here. So we're going to open up the bottoms of the feet here. If this is too intense for you, then you can take some of the weight off, but at least try to work to stretch those toes. Really, really good for balance. All right. Nice work. And come down onto your bottom and coming into boat pose. So bringing the legs forward and can hold on to either the backs of the knees or just bring your fingertips to the floor, and just leaning back slightly like this might start to be challenging. So this is one variation of it. Another variation of it would be to lift the shins. Another variation would be to straighten the legs. And yet another would be to send the arms forward. So we have all different kinds of boats. We have sailboats that can have their arms wide, catching the breeze. We have canoes that are a little bit lower to the ground. And we can have more of a dory boat, rafting dory boat. And we'll take 2 or 3 more breaths here. All right. And then to come down, you can grab the backs of the legs or work your core to lower down. Stretch the arms and the legs long. And roll to one side. You can face the screen so that your body lines up in a nice long line. And we'll take the top ankle, grab a hold of it, and come into a quad stretch. If this is causing a little balance or imbalance, then you can bring your bottom leg out in front of you for a little bit more stability. If you're wanting a challenge, you can push down into that bottom leg and foot, and you start to feel maybe even your waistline get warm. All right. And roll gently to your back and switch sides. I always say gently, but for me, it never is gentle. More like a rock and roll. All right. Grabbing that top ankle. And gently release. Coming onto your back. Cross one knee over the other. Take your arms straight out to the sides. And then you're going to lower the knees down so that top leg is still on top. And you can look over your outside shoulder or keep your head up towards the ceiling. Push down into the feet, come up through the middle. Take that top ankle on the bottom knee for figure 4. Your foot can stay on the floor, or you can thread your hands to reach the back of the leg or your shin here. And lower your foot down if it's not down, and straighten your top leg towards the ceiling. You can hold on behind the hamstrings or the calf or reach the foot as long as you're not straining and you're not lifting the hips way up off the ground. The leg over the hip can be just as effective. Yeah, if you wanted a little bit more sensation, you can straighten that bottom leg. All right, and lower down. Change the cross of the legs so your other leg comes on top. The feet come close to your bottom, and then lower your legs to the side. Just taking your time to move into the postures is also a part of a mindfulness practice where we're not just, lunging or throwing ourselves into the posture. We're allowing sort of the development of the posture where it tends or it can kind of grow on us basically and grows within us. So it's not always from the outside in that we feel it. It's usually from the inside out that we feel it, right? It could be the deeper muscles that we might feel right away, or it could be those superficial muscles that we feel right away. And then we notice the skin, even. And coming back to the middle, figure four, that ankle comes on the knee, and maybe the knees draw in. This is another posture that's helpful if you're really tight in your back, that elevating your head can be really helpful, even if it's just a couple of inches. If you notice your head coming way up off of the floor, give it a little support. Lowering your foot down and straightening your leg to the ceiling. All right, let's take both legs up towards the ceiling and hold on to the calves or the shins or the backs of the legs here for just a couple moments and just sort of feel the weight of your body dropping into the surface, feeling the legs getting lighter. And then bringing your hands down to the floor, kind of right next to the bottom, or you could also place your hands kind of underneath your bottom here. And with an exhale, slowly lower your legs down to the floor. Give you a nice slow descent. Noticing your abdominals, feel some warmth and engagement in the abdominals as you lower your legs down slowly to the floor. The heels land softly. You can release the hands and turn the palms up. So, coming into our final relaxation meditation, if there's any kind of creature comforts you like, anything under your head, or any additional movements you like, please heed those calls. And I'll guide you now here for about a 5-minute meditation. You could also be sitting up if that's a preferable position. So, wherever you have landed, notice your breath. And does it move in the same place that it did when we first started the session? And again, it's not to judge, it's just to notice. And we can label what it is. Where it is. And then, is there a word that is associated with what you're feeling right now? If you were to dive into your heart center here or body center, is there a word that arises? Is there a sensation that is present that can be identified? Acknowledge it. Own it. Explore it. And is there something that you would like to let go of in that sensation? Is it something that is serving you, or is it something that does not contribute to your health and wellness? And if it's not contributing to your health and wellness, can you let it go? If there's something that you're sensing that does contribute to your health and wellness, can that feeling expand? Can you feel it radiate from the point in which it originated? Continue to stay present for a few more breaths in silence. Begin now to welcome in any sounds, the distant sounds and the immediate sounds, the sound of my voice. And begin to welcome in the surface beneath you, any air moving across your skin and the nose, the back of your mouth, and in your torso. And then begin to welcome in any kind of movement that calls, anything that starts to bring your body back. Take your time. There's no hurry. There's no right or wrong. And just allowing yourself to move in the ways that support you from coming from a point of stillness to now a point of movement. Returning to a seated position when you're ready. And again, because if you'd like to, you can just stay where you are and know that the session will end and you can just stay right where you are, whatever it is that you need today. And once you've arrived, if you've arrived in a seated position and would like to join me in closing our time together, bring the hands together in front of the heart, and maybe the eyes are closed, maybe they're open, and just drop your chin slightly as you look into your heart space with compassion and kindness. Just meeting yourself wherever you are in this moment, on this journey, on this path that we call life. I bow to each and every one of you for showing up, for taking the time for your health and well being. You can release the hands and lift the gaze. Again, I'm Tonya. It's been an absolute honor to serve you today. If you'd like to watch more classes on our YouTube channel, you can subscribe, hit the bell icon, and if you have the means, donate. We'd love to hear from you in any which way. All of your support is appreciated. Take good care. I'll stay on for a moment if you have anything to share. It's good to see you again, EJ. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. We'll see you all next time.